Welcome back, everyone. Take a stroll through downtown Las Vegas and the Arts District, and you would be amazed by the murals being painted throughout. It's so creative, so we wanted to meet one of the local artists behind these murals and also talk about how other local artists can showcase their work throughout the city. I'm joined by local artist Tony Castillo and Rebecca Holden from the city's Office of Cultural Affairs, and there she is. Social distancing is, of course. All right, thank you guys both for being here. Tony, I'm going to go ahead and start with you. Give us a little bit about your background. You are a local Las Vegan.
Yes.
And so what murals would people be most familiar your work?
Okay, so if you're downtown, we did the Share Building, Seagull Suites, we did the Nightmare Toys storefront, and they're also opening a cafe next door, so we did the temporary front for that. We did Casa Don Juan.
Wow, you guys are busy.
Yeah.
So
it's great.
So it feels like in the last couple years, everything's kind of thrown off because of the pandemic in my head, but a couple years that we've really seen this emergence of art kind of taking place in downtown Las Vegas, whether it be murals. Now, is that because of Life is Beautiful, or is there kind of a movement among artists to get out there and do something with the landscape we have downtown?
Well, Life is Beautiful helped a lot, even just the renovation of downtown. And I think just in general, the culture in Vegas is kind of, I say this a lot, we're kind of on the ground floor, right? And it's starting to blow up, and all the existing artists are kind of getting their exposure and stuff. So hopefully soon we can compete with places like LA, these like bigger scenes. And I mean, you can tell in the last 10 years, the Arts District was totally different when I was a kid.
So you think it's really blown up. And I think I would say you're right, because you know, I think I've been here 15 years, and so when I first came, there was none of this really. Mm-hmm. And it just seems that through the years, with the renovation of downtown and just the expansion in the Arts District just really coming to fruition, it feels like artists are just really, you know, they want to get out there. So you can't just show up and say, hey, can I paint on your building? Great, you know, and go for it. You have to have I'm assuming some sort of relationship with these businesses. So what has it been like working with the businesses, and what's the general vibe that artists want to give downtown?
You know, sometimes you actually can do that.
Really?
Yeah. If it's a smaller business and they're cool, I would recommend the easiest way is to just get into the culture. Hang out with artists, know artists, just kind of know what you're doing, obviously, practice. I started with large scale canvas, and then that was kind of my resume to do walls. I guess in some situations you can't just walk in and be like, hey, you have a blank wall, can I paint it for you? I wouldn't recommend doing that, but it works. So,
why not? Why wouldn't you recommend doing that?
to be honest, it's like you got to work about like a pay schedule and.
Right, I would assume that some artists would be like, or businesses would be like, great, you want to paint on my wall? Go for it, and thinking it's a free service to showcase your art, but it's not. This is actual work, hours, supplies, everything.
Yep, exactly.
So is there a general feel amongst artists right now, what kind of vibe you guys want to create or looking to create in downtown Las Vegas?
I think every artist has their own goals and what they want to accomplish, but there's just a community. Like, we always help each other. There's like nothing like it, really.
Did you guys, when the pandemic first hit and all those boards were going up, a lot of things started popping up and people started taking tours downtown to take pictures? I did that. I took great pictures with my kids. But, you know, what you guys talk about what you guys are going to paint, or you just show up, or what's your inspiration?
Okay, so I did Corduroy. It was commissioned by ISI Group. They went and pretty much got all the businesses on Fremont,
right,
and found an artist for each building, and they did a great job at it. And the theme was just Vegas strong, do something uplifting, and have fun.
Yeah.
And then that's what we did. And every idea was different. It was very unique, and it was uplifting. There was a lot of positive messages, and it's like it shows a sense of that community.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I want to go over to Rebecca now. Rebecca, we had talked about this earlier. You don't want to just go out there and paint on a random wall on a business, because that would be considered vandalism. So, you know, let's talk about the opportunities the city provides for those who are looking to showcase some of their work. How does that happen?
Absolutely. The city is really excited about paying artists for their work and getting artists connected with opportunities that the city provides. So the city has the Las Vegas Arts Commission, which is celebrating over 30 years of being established. And that's the city's advisory body for public art on city-owned properties. And so through the Arts Commission, the city allocates funding that goes towards implementing projects like murals, sculptures in the city of Las Vegas boundaries.
Okay, so that includes, when you talk about City of Las Vegas boundaries, I mean, that includes the side, are we talking about the side of buildings, inside of rec centers? What exactly are we talking about?
An important thing to point out is that the city's funding for public art, when it comes through the Arts Commission, can actually only be used on city-owned properties. So recreation centers, cultural centers, within parks, here in City Hall, any other city facilities, that's where we're able to use that funding through the Arts Commission. And it can also be used for infrastructure projects that include a sculptural element in the public right-of-way, like the radial symmetry sculpture by Luis Varela Rico that was just installed in 2018 right outside of City Hall along Main Street.
You know, one of the things that I've always wondered is when you're choosing an artist to show off their work inside of a city building or on a city building, are there specific things you guys are looking for? I obviously love to look at artwork by artists like Tony who have ties to the community, who maybe know the history of the community and kind of can get a feel for what it means to be in Las Vegas.
Every project is a little bit different with what we're looking for and what those requirements are. But typically speaking, especially for a public mural or sculpture, we don't want to have just one decision maker there looking at the project. We want to make sure we have a panel of evaluators for the project. And they're going to be looking at a lot of different components. So, you know, the relevancy of the project to the specific site. If perhaps we asked for the artist to identify their personal relationship with the project or a region, then we want to make sure that they've clearly identified that as well, so that an evaluation panel looking at these projects feels really confident in selecting the artist and their work and then knowing that they're the right person for the project.
Okay, and so how would somebody go about knowing what projects are available, who you all are looking for? How would they apply for that?
So we have a few different venues for artists to get connected with opportunities. For our smaller scale projects, lower budget projects, gallery exhibits, those are all advertised on www.artsregistrylos.vegas. And for those, the artist just needs to create an account and log in so that they can apply through that. And those are open to the public for anybody to apply to with the specifications for each project identified there. And then for our larger budget projects, what we do is we advertise through the Nevada government e-marketplace. So those are usually projects at or over $25,000. And so that's where we are required to publicly advertise those projects for public bidding.
All right, great information. Tony, I want to go back to you before we go.
Yeah.
Where would you like to see the art scene go? I know you mentioned like we would love to be as big as LA or be as great as LA. I am not an artist by any means, and I look at the stuff downtown and I'm thinking this is amazing. I mean, where would you like to see it go?
I think it's going in a great direction already. What I would like to see is you know, like Life is Beautiful or even like the Plaza building has, they fly in artists from other places.
Yeah.
I would love to see Plaza size pieces done by local artists, but I think we're in that direction. So
that's a really good point.
Yeah.
So some of these things that we're seeing downtown, they're not always commissioned by, or they're not always by a local artist.
Yeah, they'll fly in known artists like Shepherd Ferry's on Plaza, Fail,
Right.
And I would love to see local artists. I mean, we can do it. We can do it. So
what's the relationship between businesses right now, like the bigger businesses that have, you know, the Plaza, to work with local artists? Do you think that there needs to be a better communication with you guys, or you feel like it's just going in the right direction?
I do think it's going in the right direction. I think it's just like a money gap issue, is because you have all these artists that are still up and coming, and then you've got the known people for Life is Beautiful, and there's just that gap there where the bigger businesses need to get in touch with the smaller businesses and smaller artists and kind of, but you know, it just takes time.
Work it out.
Yeah.
Let's say I'm starting out, I don't know where to go. Where's the art community? Who can I contact? What's the best people to contact as a local artist saying, I don't know where to go, I want to get my name out there, I want to learn from the best. I want that networking opportunity?
Well, social media helps a ton. I can't stress that enough. You have to have a social media presence. But also go to art events, go to art openings, go to gallery shows. Some of the biggest artists I've ever met was I just went to their show and talked to them and I got a gig, or you just network. I got my manager, just talk to people, get into the scene. But if you love it already, then you should be doing that anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have a gallery here in town?
I do. We opened up last year. 4 days later, COVID closed us.
Of course.
Yeah, so we kind of transformed it into just a studio. And that's where we're at right now. But we would love to open it back up now that everything is kind of getting going again.
Okay, well, let us know when that happens, and we'll tell all the viewers at home. Tony, thank
Yeah.
you for being here.
Thank
Rebecca,
you.
thank you for being here as well. All right, well, that's going to do it for Trending Vegas. Remember, you can get in on the conversation. Just follow us at City of Las Vegas and use the hashtag Trending Vegas. You can also watch us online anytime at kclv.tv or streaming on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire. Just download the Go Vegas app. All right, that's going to do it. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you next time.